Community transport is a government-funded program which aims to address the issue of transport disadvantage while maintaining people's independence in their own homes. In our local area, that means promoting efficient use of transport services that already exist within the community. Transport disadvantage occurs when people have limited or no access to private transport, and they have difficulty gaining access to conventional public transport systems. Community transport is a relatively new service, having commenced in Australia in the 1970s. The people in our community who need community transport are most often frail, aged, or people with disabilities and their carers, or people who are transport disadvantaged. Without community transport, there is a very real chance many of these people would not be able to live independently in their own homes. This is the main reason community transport exists. Being a community transport driver, is it for you? You need to hold a current driver's licence and be a safe, competent driver. You should enjoy driving and meeting a range of people from different backgrounds, from the elderly to the young and people with disabilities. You must be prepared to have a criminal record check, regular driving assessments and training. A community transport driver respects the confidentiality and privacy of their passengers.
Hey Linda, a little bit of juicy news. Mavis has gone off with Joe and gone away for a weekend, and I think it's a little bit sus what they're getting up to.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
I didn't know anything about
well,
that.
Well, yeah, now you do.
Congratulations, you have the job. Now, what will you be doing exactly? Community transport vehicles are clean and roadworthy. That's how we want them to stay. You will be given appropriate driver training and put through an assessment process. Each passenger should find our drivers doing much the same job. It is your responsibility to check over the vehicle at the start and end of your shift. Is there enough fuel in the tank? Tyres okay? Is the vehicle clean? You need to refuel the vehicle at the end of the day and ensure the vehicle is clean and ready for the next driver. Most importantly, fill in the vehicle logbook. This is not an optional extra. Being a community transport driver is a very responsible position. You have a legal obligation or duty of care to your passengers to ensure their well-being and safety at all times. There may be times when you need to let your coordinator know about a passenger's declining health or mobility. This helps us give our passengers the service they need.
My second passenger that I picked up this morning is now beyond my capacity to get them into the vehicle.
Okay, I'll give that passenger a call and do a reassessment, and if need be I might have to rearrange for her to be organised with another organisation.
Wherever possible, however, you must respect the privacy and confidentiality of your passenger. You will see and hear things which should not be spoken of outside your professional responsibilities.
Yes, I hope I can get better today. I'm going in for some treatment today.
When you arrive at your passenger's residence, be friendly and obliging. A smile helps break the ice, as people meet each other for the first time. Your passenger may also be distracted or anxious by the worry of a medical appointment. You are not permitted to enter a passenger's residence unless there is an emergency. You must ring the office and advise the coordinator of the emergency and your need to enter the home. A key area of your training will be manual handling. It's inevitable that you will be required to offer physical assistance to some of your clients. Community transport goes the extra step to offer elbow assistance. However, it is very important for you and your passenger to provide the correct assistance. Manual handling is not just lifting, it is carrying, supporting, pushing, pulling, holding and lowering. The effects of poor manual handling practices can occur all at once or develop over time. The biggest manual handling risks to community transport volunteers can occur when you are assisting people in and out of vehicles, lifting equipment in and out of vehicles, and pushing a person in a wheelchair. Here are a few golden rules to remember. Never ask the passenger to hang on to your neck so you can bear their weight. Never put one arm under their arm and the other around their back to lift them. Don't stand behind and walk them to the vehicle while you take their weight. Never catch someone who is falling. As tough as this one sounds, you just may injure yourself more than the person you're trying to help. And don't lift someone who has fallen. Make them as comfortable as possible and seek medical attention if required.
We have an emergency here at 67 Curlew Road. My passenger has collapsed on the floor and we need an ambulance here as soon as we can, please.
Your job is not to lift people, but to support them as they get in and out of the vehicle. Open the car door, instruct the passenger to move towards the car backwards, guide the person to sit on the edge of the seat as they hang on to solid parts of the vehicle. Instruct them to lift their legs in when they're comfortable. Getting out is basically the reverse. Legs first, hand onto the door frame, stand up and walk away. It is not your job to lift. Remember, no lift policy. If you're driving a bus that has a hoist, then use the hoist if your passenger has problems using the stairs. It is your responsibility, duty of care, to ensure all occupants' seatbelts are securely fastened while travelling in community transport vehicles. That's usually not a problem if we are talking about able-bodied people, but occasionally a passenger is in a wheelchair. They will need to be secured in their wheelchair and this requires special care. The wheelchair is fastened into the vehicle by a special securing system. The front of the wheelchair is anchored by straps secured to the vehicle floor and solid anchor points on the wheelchair. The straps are slightly angled for stability of the wheelchair when cornering. The rear straps are also anchored to the floor and solid parts on the wheelchair frame, never on the wheels. The straps are tightened snugly to prevent excessive movement of the wheelchair. The lap belt is now fitted across the passenger's hips and is run through the armrests. The slack is adjusted to be firm but comfortable for the passenger. You may be tempted to cross the rear straps to secure the wheelchair. When the restraints are crossed over, the wheelchair can collapse in the event of an abrupt stop, injuring the passenger. Remember, never cross the straps to secure a wheelchair. On occasions, you may support a passenger who can transfer from the wheelchair to the vehicle seat. Assist the passenger by holding the wheelchair and advising where there is a firm grip on the door frame. Remember the no lift policy at all times. Sometimes times you may be required to transport a passenger who is using oxygen from an oxygen cylinder. The office will advise if you are to transport an oxygen-reliant passenger. You must have your organisation's approved oxygen carry bag or oxygen securing system to safely transport the cylinder. Remember to have positive ventilation in the vehicle at all times while transporting oxygen. That is, windows open at least 10 centimetres to avoid oxygen concentration in the vehicle. Do not rely on the air conditioner. You can imagine what damage an unrestrained oxygen cylinder can do inside the vehicle. Under no circumstances are you to transport anyone with an unsecured oxygen cylinder. And you may think some other items are okay floating around in the vehicle as well. Think again. Mobile phones, pens, drink bottles, they can all cause serious injury in the event of an accident. So make sure everything is secure. We all know that 000 is our emergency hotline, or 112 if using a mobile phone. Call 000 and do not hang up until the operator tells you to. Each vehicle is allocated a mobile phone for contacting the office and for emergencies. If you have a passenger who takes a turn for the worse while in your care, make the call. You cannot administer medicine to a passenger, but you may be called on to apply first aid. Community transport is a low-cost alternative for our passengers, and many of them prefer to use cash only. You will be required to handle money. Most of the time, the passengers will have the correct amount of money for the journey. It's important to be honest and open in your handling of cash given to you, and any change in receipts that you give in return. There are some things that you should never do when you are a community driver. Don't pull up outside a passenger's home and blow the horn. Remember, we are a door-to-door service. You are required to get out of the vehicle and greet your passenger and assist if necessary.
Hi Lindsay, how are you today?
Pretty good.
Never speed, no matter what the reason. If you are running late, ring the office so they can alter the passenger's appointment time. Don't divert from your run sheet. You must follow your run sheet. For instance, if you arrive to pick up a passenger and there is an extra passenger who is not on your sheet, ring the office and seek advice. Do not arrive early for a pickup. If running early, park a block or more away from the address. This avoids the passenger rushing to be ready. They may have an accident because you are parked out the front too early. Don't ignore passengers' compliments, suggestions or complaints. Always let the office know any feedback you receive. This helps us to improve our service. Do not park in a disabled parking zone if you are not transporting a person with mobility problems. There are strict guidelines for the use of mobility parking authorities. Community transport is a door-to-door service. Your job is not done until you have delivered your passenger safely to their door. Of course, when you are driving for community transport, you must never be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Make sure that you are well rested, wearing covered shoes, and have a neat and tidy appearance. Remember, your passengers are relying on you. As a community transport volunteer, you are providing independence and freedom. Your work has a significant impact on the quality of people's lives.
Personal satisfaction out of being able to help people, give a bit back to somebody that's worked all their life and fought in wars and that, and it's just lovely to be able to help them.
Community transport is a unique program and offers a rewarding experience, really making a difference to the people in our community.